Hello, and welcome back to Bay Brothers. Today we're talking about the channel's favorite superhero, Superman.
With the new Superman movie on the horizon, a lot of people are looking to explore the Man of Steel beyond the screen. So in this video, we're going to walk you through some of the best comic books to start reading Superman.
Before we begin, a quick note. This list focuses entirely on stories from the main continuity of the DC universe.
So you won't see alternate universe stories like All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison, Superman for All Seasons by Jeff Loeb, or Kingdom Come by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. Those are incredible and very popular stories that revolve around Superman, and we thoroughly recommend them, but they've been recommended 1,000 times already. Instead, we're spotlighting 5 core continuity stories that you can read as a true entry point, and that also gives you a way to keep going. These aren't just self-contained stories, they are the start of something bigger.
Superman is a very special character. He's not just the oldest superhero, he's the center of the DC universe.
And that is not just symbolic. In Doomsday Clock, Jeff Jones makes it clear that Superman is the anchor of the multiverse, the character around whom time, space, and continuity revolve. You see echoes of this idea in major events like Infinite Crisis and Final Crisis too. So, why does he sometimes feel harder to get into?
Compared to more grounded characters like Batman or Spider-Man, Superman may seem too powerful or too idealistic. But the truth is, Superman isn't about what he can do. He is about why he does it. Yes, he can fly, shoot heat vision, lift mountains, hear screams from halfway across the world, but what makes him great is his heart. He believes in people. He never gives up, and he makes others better just by being who he is. Whether it's through his connection to Krypton, his bond with Lois Lane, or his rivalry with Lex Luthor, Superman stories have always been about identity, hope, and legacy. These 5 stories don't just show you the powers, they reveal the person behind them. They give you a way to meet the real Superman.
We begin at the very start. Action Comics number 1 by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster from 1938. If you saw our Spider-Man for New Readers video, we started with Amazing Fantasy number 15, his first appearance. This is the same idea. Action Comics number 1 is Superman's debut. It's short, it's old school, and yes, it's from another era, but it's a piece of history. You see Superman's original power set, no flying, no heat vision, just leaping, strength, and speed. He's already standing up for the little guy at this point, already protecting the innocent. And this issue gets referenced all the time in the modern comics, knowing it helps you catch these nods, which makes everything else more fun to read. It won't take you a long time, but it's the perfect way to see how the legend began.
Next is Superman's Secret Origin by Jeff Jones and Gary Frank from 2009. This is one of the best modern takes on Superman's early years, and a perfect story for new readers. You follow Clark from his childhood in Smallville, where we see his bond with Lana Lang, his early friendship with Lex Luthor, and even his encounters with Legion of Superheroes. Then the story shifts to Metropolis, where he meets Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, starts working at the Daily Planet, and becomes Superman. You see his first villains, his first public battles, and his first real steps into becoming a symbol. Gary Frank's artwork adds heart, warmth, and cinematic scope to every scene.
One of the reasons we include this story and most other stories on this list is because it leads somewhere. After reading Secret Origin, you can continue directly into Jeff Jones and Gary Frank's Action Comics run, starting with Action Comics number 855 with the Bizarro World up to 870, ending with the Brainiac arc, which eventually leads into World of New Krypton, a massive, ambitious story that pushes Superman far outside of his comfort zone. This is my favorite origin of Superman ever told, as it is contained, written by my favorite writer Jeff Jones, and also takes inspiration from a channel favorite TV series, Smallville.
Especially the friendship dynamic in Clark and Lex's early years wasn't something we saw before Smallville, and Jeff Jones fully incorporates that to the Superman canon with this story.
Our third pick is Superman Up, Up and Away, written by Jeff Jones and Kurt Busiek from 2006. This story takes place after Infinite Crisis as a part of DC's 1 year later initiative, and it works like a soft relaunch of the Superman titles. In this arc, Superman has been gone for a year, powerless, and now he's trying to return, not just physically, but also symbolically. It's a story of rebuilding and rediscovering, and an excellent entry point for new readers. It also kicks off the Superman 2006 volume, with Kurt Busiek continuing as the lead writer. So if you enjoy this, you got a clear path forward. Mid-2000s are the best era for comic books for us. It is modern enough that the art styles, writing, and stories are up to date, but it isn't as derivative and poorly written as some of the stories that we started seeing in late 2010s and 2020s. Especially for DC with Jeff Johns and Grant Morrison's vision, we get to experience some of the all-time great events like Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, and Blackest Night during this era. Individual stories are also great at this time, and Superman Up and Away allows you to experience that greatness. Fourth on our list is Superman Rebirth, written by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. This is one of the most heartfelt Superman runs in the recent memory, because here, Superman is a father, arguably the most suited character for the role in the entire superhero community. We've seen Clark act as a mentor before, to characters like Mon-El or Connor Kent, but in this story, he's raising his own biological son, John Kent. The parallels between Clark and his adoptive father, Jonathan Kent, are everywhere. You see the same values passed down, the same quiet strength, the same unwavering belief in doing good. Tomasi and Gleason are no stranger to stories about fatherhood. The previously story they wrote was Batman and Robin during the New 52 initiative, exploring Bruce and Damian Wayne's complex bond. But with Superman Rebirth, they strike a more hopeful, emotionally resonant tone. Superman's compassion, warmth, and humility shine through in every issue. It's a modern and grounded take on the character that balances family life with heroism, and it's one of the most accessible starting points for new readers. The Rebirth initiative itself was DC's answer to the problems that arose in the later years of the New 52. While the New 52 initially brought fresh energy and modern redesigns to the DC universe, over time, it became clear that something essential has been lost: the legacy, heart, and the history that longtime fans loved. Many characters, including Superman, no longer felt like the versions readers had read for decades. In the New 52, Superman was more aggressive, impulsive, and emotionally isolated, a stark contrast to the optimistic hero readers grew up with. That changed when the classic pre-Flashpoint Superman returned in Superman Lois and Clark by Dan Jurgens. This version of Superman, older, wiser, and now a husband and a father, became the foundation of the Rebirth era. When the New 52 Superman died, the mantle passed down to the returning Superman, blending the two timelines into one cohesive continuity. And then, Superman's world felt whole again. Superman Rebirth marked not just a return to form but a step forward, preserving the emotional depth of the modern era while restoring the core of who Superman truly is. And final story on our list is The Death of Superman by Dan Jurgens and others. This is where I personally started reading Superman, and it's still one of the most powerful stories ever told about him. That said, it's not as simple as others, and that's why we questioned ourselves while adding it onto the list. This arc spans 5 titles and 7 issues, including Superman the Man of Steel, Justice League of America, Superman Volume 2, Adventures of Superman, and Action Comics. So yes, it's a bit more complicated to follow, but it is 100% worth it. After Crisis on Infinite Earths, Dan Jurgens became one of the most influential Superman writers. What makes him stand out is how willing he is to take creative risks with a character as established as Superman, and still do it in a way that's respectful, emotional, and iconic. At the time, Superman had already been around for 55 years. Killing him and bringing him back in a way that felt real and earned was almost impossible, but Dan Jurgens pulled it off. Today, we see hundreds of writers rewriting the same stories over and over again, or even worse, try to change the status quo with the worst types of stories that ruin the character, that take multiple retcons to fix. Dan Jurgens is the exact opposite, and he proved it not only in the 90s with the death of Superman, but in the years that follow, also during his Action Comics in the Rebirth era. The story itself is deceptively simple. Superman gives everything he has to stop Doomsday. But it's not just a battle, it's a story about endurance, duty, and sacrifice. As Doomsday tears across the country, Superman is the only one who can stand in his way. And even though the odds are impossible, he doesn't back down. He stays in the fight, not because he knows he's going to win, but because he has to try. What makes this story so effective is how grounded it is as well. There are no multiversal resets or time travel twists. Just a hero doing everything he can to protect the people he cares about. It is straightforward but emotionally devastating. A pure Superman story, built on heart, resolve, and the weight of responsibility. Right after reading the story, you can continue Dan Jurgens' Superman with Funeral for a Friend, which explores how the world, both heroes and civilians, process that loss. And Reign of the Superman, which introduces 4 would-be successors to Superman. Some mean well, some don't. But through it all, the core message is clear. Superman meant something, and his death left a hole. But it also left some inspiration. Others try to step up, and even in death, Superman is still a force for good. It's not the easiest story to begin with, as I mentioned, but it might be the most important, as it is the starting point to the most influential era of modern times for Superman.
So that's our list. These 5 stories are clean, powerful entry points, easy to pick up, and deeply connected to the core of who Superman is. They don't just show you the powers, the heat vision, the strength, the speed. They show you the person, the values, the impact.
If you're looking for an introduction to Superman comics, start here. If you're already engaged, we hope this list deepens that connection.
Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments which Superman story you're excited to read, or if you want to see more Superman videos. We've got plenty more to cover. See you next time. B-Bros out.